Welcome to Multiple Offers, a real estate show with competing perspectives. Today we are talking about small town real estate.
Put that coffee down.
If you're good at something, never do it for free.
How'd you get the gig? Oh, you know, they were hiring. It was only a 2-week course.
I will sell this house today.
What are you, some kind of real estate agent?
Oh, he's a realtor. There is a difference somehow.
This is Multiple Offers, a real estate show.
All right, guys, we have a very special guest with us today, all the way from Hazelton. We have Eldon Whalen. Eldon is one of the top 3 realtors in Hazelton out of 2.5 realtors.
Woo, good job.
Congratulations, Eldon.
Oh, thank you.
He was a realtor. He was a realtor at Remax Advantage with Jer, Matt, and I. He had his best year ever right before he left, and he has a very unique approach to marketing real estate. Eldon, welcome to the show.
Thanks, Geoff. Hey, buddy.
Full disclosure, Eldon's not a co-worker.
No.
He's a friend.
He's a buddy of ours.
They promised that I could be the funny one.
Jared's going to be mad.
No. I don't know about that.
Yeah. All right, so Matt, what's going on with you?
I'm just excited to have Eldon here. I haven't seen him in a long time.
How long has it been since you've been in town, Eldon?
Since I've been here?
Yep.
About 5 days. Ish.
It's been 5 days since you were in New West.
No. I misunderstood the question.
Eldon got smarter when he left town.
Time is hard. How long has it been since I get it? Oh, I get it now. That's, okay. About a year.
Wow,
that went by fast.
Yeah, no kidding. It feels like 2 months ago that you were having
year
your
and a half.
best month ever in real estate.
Best 4 months.
Best 4. Oh, I stand corrected. Fair enough.
Well, it's super fun to have you back in town. And we kept saying on the show we were going to get Eldon on sometime because you've heard us mention you on the show, right?
I have.
Yeah. And we thought we were going to Skype you in and figure out how to do that on this show.
And then we got you live in the flesh.
Skype is terrible.
We still haven't
The
figured out.
internet's really choppy up north, so there's that kind of thing.
Lots of that.
So live and in person, he's here. This is fantastic.
Cool.
I even got to have dinner with him last night and his wife and daughter.
What?
Oh yeah.
Yep.
Did
Little
you
me and Ed pizza.
Not supposed to mention that on the show.
Ooh, it was a hush hush thing. Wow.
I'm so upset right now.
Yeah, we had a pizza. We had a pizza night. It was delicious.
3 different kinds.
3 different kinds of me and Ed's. They don't have that up in the northern
No,
BC.
there's no pizza delivery where I am.
There's no pizza.
No, there's an
pizza.
Ed.
There's Ed.
And there's Ed.
There's Ed.
And me, I'm there.
But there's no, you're not picking up some Panago, Papa Joe's.
No, they have a Subway, though.
Delicio.
I mean, you could get the meatball sub. That's about the closest.
Put that in the broiler. You got a pizza.
Yeah.
Or the pizza sub.
They have one?
Hold the phone.
Just blew my mind.
Hang on. Out of both the Hazeltons, you don't have a pizza place?
No, there's 3 Hazeltons. What do you mean both?
Okay, 3 Hazeltons.
Are they all in the same area?
They're all about a 10-minute drive from each other.
I thought there were 2.
There's 3. There's new. There's old. That one's older than new. And south.
Oh, I didn't know there were the Southies.
How old is the South? Less newer than new, but newer than old?
Something like that.
Huh. This is great geography of
the Hazeltons metropolis. We're going to learn a lot more about small town real estate
today on Multiple Hazeltons.
Anything you want to share with our listeners, Geoff?
Well, I had a deal die this week and then be resurrected, which was kind of cool. Nice. We got a flat out no on financing from the lender that the buyers were working with, and we didn't have time. The deal collapsed, but luckily they went to some alternate sources, and turns out there wasn't an issue with the building. There was just an issue with the lender. So something I think for our listeners to keep in mind is that, a no from one lender isn't always a no from everybody. They're not all exactly the same.
And they didn't have to go to Uncle Tony.
No, it was a totally above board.
No fear of kneekeeps being broken.
Yeah, didn't have to go into the back of Ed's pizza shop.
They ended up going through one of the big banks, so it wasn't. Yeah, it was nothing Nothing sketchy like what you're reading about in the Globe and Mail.
It's not what you know. It's who you know.
There you go. How about you, Eldon? What's going on with you?
Well, readjusting to doing real estate in a small town. It's a little bit different.
Yeah.
Started back up in mid-September. Got my first deal in week 1.
Yeah.
Which was pretty cool. Multiple offers, even, in Hazelton. Apparently that doesn't happen there. Huh. So, it was pretty exciting. And then a few weeks later, on a listing that we were getting crickets on, all of a sudden, multiple offers.
Okay.
Weird. So you brought your big city ways up there.
Yeah, I kind of brought the lower
tricks.
mainland with me. And
so
broke the
if
market.
there are only 2.5 realtors in Hazelton, and you get multiple offers, what happens if there's a third person? Because you're representing the seller, and then there's 1.5 realtors left to represent the other people, and then there's a third guy who wants it. Just too bad you didn't get there fast enough, or how does that work?
You don't have an agent.
They just don't have an agent, or they have to go out of town to get one. Like Smithers is the next closest town, and it's what is it? It's about 50 kilometers from Hazelton. So it's
about an 18-minute drive at Hazelton speed.
Yeah, if you're going about 180.
Yeah.
It's not. Yeah, you can do it.
Yeah,
in the summer.
People on the highways outside of the big cities, they know how to move. They might move slow in town, but man, anytime I see them on the freeway moving between cities, they're like, "We're moving, let's go."
Oh yeah, you're going 130, and they're on your.
They're on your tail. Eldon is really stressed about our keep the language clean.
Yeah, for those who don't know Eldon, he's doing his best to put the potty mouth away. We apologize in advance if he doesn't do it perfectly.
It's really, really hard.
He's been up north for like 10 seconds. Should have seen before he left. He never swore at all.
Didn't have a beard.
Yeah. So I think we're about to get into our main topic, which is going to be about what the differences between real estate here in town is like versus what it's like in a very, very small city or small cities. We're also going to hear some stories from Eldon later. We got a question of the week. But yeah, let's get into it.
Now you want to get nuts? Come on, let's get nuts.
You decide your own level of involvement.
Well, I guess this is a case where we'll have to agree to disagree.
I don't agree to that.
Neither do I.
Wrong.
National debt.
Wrong.
You're an advocate.
Wrong. With that money, lost one.
Very nice words, but happens to be wrong.
You're listening to Multiple Offers, a real estate show.
Okay. Eldon, let's start at the beginning. So you were a realtor at RE/MAX Advantage.
Yeah.
You decide to leave New West and pack your bags and head north, like Feifel.
Feifel?
Feifel goes west?
I thought it was Fievel.
Feifel.
Like, can you lend me a Fievel?
I think it's an F, but I am prepared to be wrong about that. The important part is you decide to leave New West. As soon as you do, your real estate career goes on fire. Before we get into small town real estate, what happened?
And this is in New West.
This is in
Eldon
New West.
makes the decision, I'm going to leave New West.
He announces to our office that he's abandoning us.
I've got an exit strategy.
I think everyone just wanted to get a piece of me before I
think,
left.
Yeah, I think it was just
it was the hard
scarcity.
to get thing.
I always said
you
I would
can't
hire
have
Eldon.
Me. None of us have had a chance to try him out. Oh my god.
Yeah, they're like, oh yeah, I've always wanted to, hire Jeff or Jeremy or Matt, but Eldon's leaving. We got to give him a go. We're not going to get
Eldon's
another chance.
leaving. I'll have lots of time to hire those yahoos.
Yeah, well, I think a lot of things just came to a head. I was in the business for 6 years, so started having a lot more return clients, and my marketing, I'd been laying that out for a number of years, specifically my Quayside condos thing that I was doing. And people were starting to recognize me, like, "Oh, you're that Quayside condos guy,"
Right?
They didn't know my name, but they knew I was the guy with that website,
Yeah.
And
what happened to that website?
Killed it.
It's dead.
You didn't decide to give it to
your
buddy Jeremy, who was also working the quayside.
We did.
You wanted too much money for it.
We did talk about it.
He's like, fine, then I'll just destroy it.
Just had to transfer the domain name. But no, we did talk about that. I don't know. It just somehow it fell off our radars and then it died. But you can still buy that URL.
It is still available.
I think they want like $2,500 for it, though.
Who does?
Whoever
GoDaddy or whatever.
Was it GoDaddy? I think. Yeah, they're like
whatever website provider has it.
Yeah, I think it was GoDaddy. They're like, I looked it up one day. I was just curious and like, you can buy this for $2,500.
So when did you buy it?
What? 2013 or 14, I think.
So you bought it for like $10.
Yeah, basically.
So it got traffic,
You
and then
turned
you
it
abandoned
into.
it. Yeah. Okay. So the GoDaddy thinks that because people went to it, that it's worth something now.
A lot of money.
Right. We should let all the Quayside specialists know and have a bidding war for it.
All right. I'm more curious in the after you left. I mean, obviously, hey, you went out with a bang.
Yeah.
Fantastic. Good for you. Put some money in the bank,
Yeah.
and then you took all this big city money and went to the small town.
They use the same money in the small town.
Yeah, it's just.
But you were like Hazelton millionaire.
I mean, I know groceries cost twice as much up there and all the rest of it. But
Not really, actually. It's that's one thing I was prepared to be like, oh, the grocery bill is going to be crazy because you always hear these stories about how expensive food is in the north, but it's not that far north. You know, we're not way up beyond.
And in theory,
where trucks can get in the winter,
and it shouldn't be that hard to get you goods if they're coming from the port in Prince George.
Some
right?
things,
or
in
Alaska.
Prince George. There's no port in Prince.
There's no port at all.
Prince George is inland. That's a hell of a boat.
Snap.
You mean a distribution hub?
No, but they wanted Prince George to be a distribution center of some sort, didn't they?
Prince Rupert, maybe.
Was it Rupert? No,
Yeah.
but Rupert's too far
One of the
south.
other princes.
Rupert is like 3 hours from Hazelton, 3.5.
How far is Alaska?
Time-wise?
Yeah.
That's a weird one because you can go into like Hyder, Alaska, and you can get there in a day, no problem. But because of how it comes down,
Right. I thought you were closer
the coast. If you wanted to get into like Alaska proper or whatever.
Okay.
So we're really
It would take
establishing
a lot longer.
that we here at Multiple Offers have no idea where the Hazeltons are.
Yeah, we sell real estate. We just don't know where it is.
And let's just clarify that point. It's Hazeltons because there are multiple cities named Hazelton
There's
in this area.
There's Hazelton,
Yeah.
which is the original Hazelton, or it's also called Old Hazelton.
Of course.
Then there's New Hazelton, which is newer,
Yeah.
and then there's South Hazelton,
Which one's the most?
to the south.
If you had to say one, which of the three is the most like yuppity? Is there,
That's New Hazelton.
New
for
Hazelton,
sure.
yeah.
Sorry, Newtown. I grew up in New Hazelton, and yeah, we were
fancy.
basically the townies.
Oh, this is a return.
Oh yeah, you didn't know that?
I knew you grew up north. I didn't realize it was the same place.
Yeah, I did. Yeah, same place.
They pulled him back in.
Just when he thought he was out.
They pulled me back in.
You can tell they're very creative up north because instead of coming up with a new name for a community, they're like, well, Hazelton worked.
Burnaby was supposed to be called Old Westminster. They vetoed it.
That's a good name, though.
All right. I've had a lot of curiosities about what is going on up there. Part of how we notice your activities, you've created a Facebook page for your Hazeltons real estate.
Yeah.
And it turned out there wasn't a missing apostrophe. I just thought you were Hazeltons real estate.
I was kind of like,
I was confused at first.
Yeah.
Too.
do I say? Yeah, I was kind of struggling with that one. Do I put the apostrophe in or not? Because it could work either way.
Yeah, so you're the multiple
this real estate
Hazeltons.
belongs to the Hazeltons, but
So I saw you get going. You got some listings out there. You got pictures. You got all this stuff happening. And clearly it's different than how we do things here. It's different than how you knew things here. And that's part of what we're really curious to hear about. You got any first question that jumps out at you, Geoff, where you're like, what is going on up there?
I want to know what you brought from New West and the Greater Vancouver marketing that was like, what is he doing? Like that just was not getting done at all in the Hazeltons.
social media marketing.
So there were
Facebook in particular.
Yeah.
Yeah, it was just not being done. So I started this real estate page, and within a few days, it had 200 followers.
Wow.
Really?
Yeah.
Oh, they were hungry.
Yeah, like people really were like, "Whoa, this is cool." So far, like the first home that I sold, the people found out about it through the ad campaign that he put on Facebook, not through MLS, not through any other real estate website.
Oh, the buyer actually saw it first. Through a Facebook
on
ad.
Facebook.
Cool.
They got somebody that they knew was like, "Hey, this is a cool house." Tagged them. The rest is history.
Nice.
Would you say a large part of the population is using Facebook?
Yes, way more than here.
It's
Like,
kind of like
per capita, way more.
their community sort of platform to chat with each other,
Yeah.
right? I noticed that where our cabin is in Princeton, it feels like
Really?
everybody is on, and it's just like the community page.
Oh, cool.
Yeah.
Facebook is easy, especially if you're using Messenger, because there's a lot of remote areas, right? And
Right.
if you don't have the internet, well, I mean, you can get it anywhere, but you may have to get a satellite system to get it in, right? So you send someone a text, like where we're going to be building our house. You could send me a text, and unless I go to town,
You're not getting it.
It might be days.
yeah,
before you
exactly, right? So you need a landline and stuff like that. So
So you need web-based messaging for
Yes.
consistency.
So internet's better than cell.
yes,
There.
oh yeah, by far. So I think because of that, people just use it more. They're on it more, and so when you put an ad out for a house that's for sale, and there's not a lot of houses for sale.
How
So
much,
if
is, how
someone's
much is a
looking-
house there?
$100.
$200.
That's closer to the truth, actually, compared to Vancouver.
Yeah.
But yeah, sold a 4-bedroom house with 2 bathrooms for $142,500,
Wow.
That sounds like
fully renovated.
good price.
$142.
$142,500.
I would imagine with the social media marketing too, that it's going to be so much more powerful for you specifically, because here people see social media ads all the time targeting them.
Yeah.
Like you're really fighting for people's like space in people's feed when you run a social media ad. If you're the only person doing it, the fact that they're not inundated with it probably means a lot.
Yeah. I've talked to people too. This one friend of mine from Smithers, he's like, "Oh yeah, I saw your ad the other day." He's like, "And I didn't delete you." Where when I ran campaigns here, I would get people every now and then. You'd get that one angry person that's sick of hearing ads, and they leave some like really nasty message on your page.
So then they engage with you.
Yeah, and then you're like, great,
not realizing
great,
that's not helping.
That's an A quality lead there.
It's usually like, how did you get on my Facebook page?
Get off of my wall.
Stop ruining my free service.
Were they
Why are
running-
you stalking me? How do you know I'm looking for houses?
So are the other agents not on? Do they not have, like, they have probably personal accounts, but maybe they don't have anything?
Yeah, I don't think
set
they
for their
didn't
business?
really use it.
So nobody's
much.
copying you yet?
Not yet.
Do they have?
But I
what's
don't
it
think they
saying?
will.
Do they have web pages?
Yeah.
The realtors, yeah?
Yeah. They don't have like the super fancy Avenue kind of web pages that we were
Professionally designed.
using in the city.
Are you still using the Avenue service there?
No, they don't.
They won't-
They
they
don't
won't
service
service?
the Northern Board.
They won't. Oh, because they can't communicate with the board.
Yeah.
Right? They can't put the listings
that
on.
makes sense.
Yeah.
So Realty Ninja is the go-to.
The
up
ninjas
there.
up there.
Yeah.
So follow-up question. So that's something that worked. What's something that you would have done back here in New West that you maybe tried or just haven't even tried because you're like, no, there's no way this doesn't even apply here?
Know everyone.
What
What
does that mean?
I'd be friends with everyone in the city.
It
I
doesn't
have
work
no
here?
idea what you're saying. What does that mean?
In Hazelton, I
knows
know
everyone.
everyone. Even though I've been gone for 18 years, I still know just about everyone. So when someone says, "Oh, hey, I heard you're getting back into real estate," it's like, "How did you know that?" "Oh, well, I ran into your mom," and
Yeah.
like it.
Oh,
It
I
probably
see.
helps that your name's Eldon too, and not
Probably,
like
yeah.
Mike.
There's no other Eldons.
So even though you've
That
been
was
gone
actually
for
the
so
case here,
long,
too.
it's not like you're starting in a new area with
Yeah.
nobody.
Yeah, I'm
That'd
not
be
just
like
some
me
guy.
going to my hometown.
Yeah.
Swanson. hates it when I Sorry, T. Swanson.
Your S was a little
I've thought about going back
hard
to
on
my hometown from time to time too.
Yeah, you finally made it back.
Yeah, I did. I did move back to my hometown.
It's amazing though, Eldon. Like it's true. You can go back because it's just people you knew through your youth, and then their parents, and then somebody's sister or whatever. And you're like, holy cow! You seem to know enough people that it all comes together pretty quick, right?
Yeah.
Do you have to get over the fact that they knew you at maybe your like most
they knew
immature?
me at
I was going to say it could be a problem.
Yeah,
they knew me when I had a mullet.
Like I've heard your stories about what you were like as a teenager. Like, is that a real hurdle you have to get over now that
No,
you're having to work with
it's
them?
water under the bridge. I was a pretty. I mean, that's coming from my perspective. There may still be some bitter people out there. I broke a lot of things. I burned some things. I was a bit of a troublesome kid, and I think people are pretty forgiving, though. You know,
especially when you're coming with your big city real estate, like this tycoon's coming up here, and he's going to get us all tons of money, $143,000.
I think maybe they might have. There were a few sideways looks, you know, when I wore the clothes that I wore to go to work down here. Yeah.
Who do you think you are?
This guy?
Okay, that's good. That's good.
I'm walking down the street one day, and I wasn't even wearing a tie. I was dressed like Geoff is right now.
Yeah.
And some.
This is amazing radio.
You should all see Geoff. He looks hilarious.
It's just a shirt with a collar.
They thought you were going to court, or
no? A guy I know just comes out of nowhere and he's like, "What are you selling Bibles?" What? I'm not even dressed up.
Wear a whole suit and tie, like just once.
Yeah,
just.
Which is really funny because when you were down here, I know you got a lot of like, Eldon, you need to
dress up more. Yeah.
Like I remember Keith saying that to you.
Remember that one hot summer I was doing open houses at the Key, and it was so hot. And I kept seeing all these realtors slogging around and just like sweating buckets, carrying their signs around in like 35 degrees. And I was just like, you know what? No, I'm not doing it. I just put on some shorts, and I think I even wore sandals, and then a nice shirt. And I went and did my open houses, and everyone's like, yeah, good idea. You
That's okay.
Yeah, they were totally cool with it. They had no objection to me like doing an open house in shorts. I mean, they were nice shorts. You know,
yeah, you got to pull it off. Okay, but that kind of I want to follow up on Jeff's question because I like where Geoff was going there, but you gave a don't know everybody answer.
Yeah,
but it's true. Like, is there something that makes sense in the big city here that's going too far? Like you just gave the example, like you dressed up almost too nice. It's too much for them. Is there anything else where you're like, man, that was a standard practice at home, like back in New West, but I really can't bring that here, or I can't bring that here yet,
or it wouldn't work.
Yeah.
People feel like they're being pushed if you're sitting at an open house, for instance, and you're down here you would sort of push to get the lead kind of thing, and up there, you have to be more casual about it.
Oh, so you're not necessarily like looking for leads.
Yeah, you're there. You're there, and that's true.
Especially if it's your listing.
That's true in the sense of the whole business up there is you just focus on selling the house and not forget about, but you put much less focus on getting the leads. Because in a small town where you're, one of 2.5 realtors, they will come.
You're going to get the lead.
You're going to get the lead.
You're not competing with 50 other people.
Yeah.
This hour who are also holding open houses.
So you don't get those realtors with commission breath. Just sitting at the open house going, come on. Everyone that walks in the door is a paycheck. It's just show them the house and chat them up.
If our listeners have listened to past episodes, they probably know we've talked about the fact that one of the ways new realtors, and a lot of realtors run their business, is at open houses, they're looking to sell the house, but they're also looking to meet people who might want to either sell their home or buy a different property. And that's really trained into realtors. Most realtors in the Lower Mainland right from the beginning is the advice almost every new realtor gets is an open house is the quickest way to sell a home, not necessarily the home that you're
And you'll
you're
never
working.
get them if you don't ask for the business.
And you'll never get
Yeah.
them.
Yeah.
And that, I think, is mostly true here.
because they see so many faces that
Yeah.
if you seem indifferent, they're like, well, that guy didn't really want
Doesn't-
to
Did that guy
work
even
for
want
me.
to work
Yeah.
for me?
I mean, at least that guy asked.
Yeah.
He seems like he wants to work with me.
Yeah.
But I get where you're coming from. I asked the guy up at the lake who does all the business, and I'm like, how did you become like the biggest show in town, right? And he's like, we work. I'm like, what do you mean? He's like we actually work.
Like the other realtors
Yeah.
aren't putting in
That's
any
actually a
work.
good way to put it.
Yeah.
Like you don't spend 4 hours of your day trying to figure out how to get new clients. You just service the clients you have.
So what does it look like when a lead calls? Because I imagine, too, one of the things you deal with in New West is a lot of times, and the New West guys can attest to this, a lot of times when you get a lead, somebody calls you and says, hey, I'm calling 3 realtors to talk about selling my home. Would you come in and interview for the position? Give me a market evaluation and tell me what you do. Are they calling the other 1.5 realtors or what? Or do you just get a call being like, hey, come over, list my home? Like, what does that look like?
I haven't had to compete.
Okay.
Right now, basically, there's one realtor will not list homes, and that
Which is why we're calling him a
That's
half.
the half. So
Yeah.
the
yeah,
half's
yeah.
not getting the call.
Will only represent buyers. And then there's
So
there's
no
me
repeat
and one other
business
guy.
for that realtor. Like if
This is
if
new
his clients need to sell,
This is new for her. Well, if her clients need to sell,
yeah,
she says call Eldon.
okay,
So that's how I get that listing.
yeah,
And then it's just a matter of like, okay, there's 2 other realtors. Who do you want to pick? And well, somebody might already know me, or they may know me better, so
Yeah.
they pick me, or they know the other one better, they pick him. I'm sure at some point there'll probably be like, you don't always necessarily like the realtor that you hire, so some people may not like him, some people may not like me. So
They think your cowboy hat's nicer than his.
yeah, he does have a cowboy hat
Yeah.
actually. Yeah, but
How many
I
do
need
you
to get
have?
one. I need to get one.
You don't have one.
No.
So one of my big questions about small town real estate, and maybe this is why this other is it female or male agent who doesn't do like listings anymore?
Female.
So she doesn't do listings, and so I'm wondering, because generally speaking, in small towns in rural Canada, listings historically don't sell fast.
Typically,
They can be on the market like normal is like 6 months. You got to be ready for a year. One, is that maybe why she doesn't want to do listings? She just wants a buyer who calls up and is like, "Hey, let's buy
Well,
this."
these the new rules came into effect, and typically people there was a lot of double ending because you're a small town. Like, well, who else are you going to use? Just make it,
Okay, so
make
she
it
just
quick and
kind of hitched
simple.
her horse to the buying side and said, "This is
Well,
where I'll-"
sort of, but she also wanted to retire.
Okay.
She's decided to hang on to her license and just represent buyers for a while, sort of ease out.
Okay, I gotcha.
And kind of see, if it makes sense to keep doing that, then keep doing it. But if it doesn't make financial sense to keep doing it, then just full on retire. It's
Okay.
kinda-
So my more significant question about small town real estate generally taking so long to sell, like what's the psyche of the seller like in that, where it's like, hey man, we're going to list your house. Here's all these other ones that have sold and they were on the market for, this one's 10 months. This one was 16 months. Like, how do you plan for that? What is the process if they're saying, Eldon, there's a house over there I want to buy, and then I have to sell this one? It seems really difficult to plan your life around something where real estate just, you can't guarantee it's going to move fast, even if it was a great price.
Yeah, and it's always been that way. So people are just used to the fact that it does take longer because it's a much, much smaller market. There's far fewer people out there even looking to buy a home compared to here.
Are you bringing the no offers until Monday tactic?
No. I've been toying with the idea. Maybe I should just try that and see if it happens, see if it works.
I didn't mean to derail you
But
there. Sorry.
part of the reason why homes take a long time to sell is a lot of people that live in town don't work in town. They work in camps. So, we get an offer on a home, and here it's not uncommon in New West where you get an offer on Monday and they want it done. They want your inspection and your finance and everything done by Friday. And in Hazelton, that's not going to happen.
What's a typical subject removal period? Like, is it a couple weeks or is it longer?
At least a couple weeks. I've got one right now. We got the offer in mid-November, and the subject day removal day is mid-December.
What are they doing during all of that?
They're at work. They're at work.
He's at least 3 weeks on.
They're in a.
Oh, I see.
They're in a mining.
So
camp
they're not even
with no access to a cell phone and no access to a computer or anything, right?
Somebody needs to become like a full-service mortgage broker who goes to the camp and helps them fill out the paperwork.
Oh, the fuel for that plane.
Yeah.
You'd have to get a new business.
Maybe it should be somebody who's already working at the camp, and then they can also go around and collect.
Y'all need a mortgage?
Yeah.
But what does that strategy look like when the buyer says, like, Eldon, I found this house came up for sale that I love. We've been thinking of moving for a couple of years, and this is like exactly what we want to do for our family. Now we have this house to sell. How do you line that up when in reality you can't really say we're going to sell your house in the next month? It could take 6 months. Like, what's the strategy?
Well, it's the same strategy as here. It just takes longer.
So it's like a 6 month subject to sale?
We'll put it up. We'll put your house up for sale. We'll put a subject to sale clause in there, and
talk next year.
We'll talk next year. And sometimes, what I've found so far, and granted, I've only been doing this in Hazelton for since September. The good houses still go quickly, relatively speaking. Like a house that needs a lot of work and is maybe optimistic on their price still might take 6 months or 8 months to sell. But the really smartly priced ones that are in demand, like they're going to go. Like these two, the first home that I sold was like the perfect house for so many people that were looking. So it just went
right
What's
fast.
the demographic sort of makeup? Like, is it there's a lot of people that are like working in camps, or is it like a lot of people coming back because they want to raise their families there?
A lot of people working in camps. A lot of government work, hospitals and stuff like that too.
So is it kind of like some transient people then? Like they may only have a house there for 5 years, or
for
as long as they have a contract?
Lots of people will they'll buy a house and they'll move, they'll rent it out or sell it when they leave. You don't typically realize those big gains. If you bought a house for $150,000 today, probably in a few years you'll sell it for $150,000, give or take.
Right.
So they tend to decide, let's throw a renter in there for a while, see how that goes, and we'll move and sell it down the road.
Did the values go up in the past couple of years? Like, it seemed like a lot of areas, I know certainly in Greater Vancouver we've seen increases, but
no, they haven't. But there's a lot pointing to them starting to,
because they got Eldon now.
They've got me now. I run Facebook ads, so. But no, there's been there's contentious issues like the LNG plant approval went through. So the whole region in terms of that, like some people love it, some people hate it.
What is LNG?
Liquefied natural gas.
Okay.
So there's a huge.
That's the Kitimat?
The Kitimat, yeah.
So good, is it good or bad or is it too politicized?
It's pretty politicized, so it depends who you ask. But
Eldon's going to reserve comment
in terms,
on that one.
Yeah, I'm going to stay away
well,
from
the consensus you're
the
feeling
politics.
from, or is it really that polarized? Like,
it's pretty polarized, depending on it's sort of this left-right battle.
Well, some people want the economic benefit, and a lot of people fear the environmental impact, right?
Yeah, exactly.
Two very opposite sides of the coin. So
yeah.
You're going to make an enemy if you take a side.
Pretty much. I don't want to only sell homes for one type of person. So, which I, we had a conversation about that in New West.
I won't out him on which side and where, but Eldon and I had a lot of conversations about that when you were selling real estate in New West.
Yeah, but you could be more picky about who you're...
Because there are more people here.
There are way more people. You could just, get into your little bubble and decide, I only want to help these types.
Just fly your flag.
I just want to, basically, you can, right?
Yeah.
Well, and it's not like you can't get along with all types of people. You just have to look at it as business, right? And you treat everybody respectfully, and it's okay to have differences of opinions.
Yeah.
And I think that flies a lot more aggressively in any small community because it's typically tied specifically to one industry.
Yeah. There was just a lot of me going to Eldon when he was in New West, being like, Eldon, you can't say that on Facebook. Like,
You're alienating so many people.
I don't want their money, man.
yeah, that's exactly the conversation we had.
But I did. I mean, to be fair, I did kind of come more around to your way of thinking on that one towards the end, and maybe that's why I made.
Maybe that's why you exploded.
Maybe that's why I did so well in the end. But
what is the real estate calendar like up in the Hazeltons? Like, is it like us, where springtime is they're super busy, and then it calms down in the summer, and then picks up again in the fall?
Yeah, it's pretty much the same, except the winter. We'll see. I haven't gone through one yet, but
you're expecting hibernation?
Pretty much.
Yeah.
Like a lot of the realtors who have done business up there have told me, like, you don't do much. Like, save your money because
Prove them wrong.
Yeah,
go prove them wrong, Eldon.
That's what I'm trying to do.
Facebook.
Like, people don't buy. It's like, no, they don't buy because you're not trying.
Yeah, I wonder. It's tough to say. I'll learn that. Like, talk to me in a couple of years and see what my opinion is on that, because these people up there, they've been doing it for a long time, and I don't know, maybe they were really gung ho in the winter for when they first started out, and then eventually they're just like, this is not happening.
Well, even in like Edmonton and Calgary, they say the winter is a lot slower, and it's because when you're blanketed in snow, it's harder to know what you're buying.
Right.
Like, you can't even see the bottom 3 feet of the house.
Yeah.
Like, so what does that house look like?
So what's the yard like? Oh, it's there.
Yeah, just wait till the snow melts. It looks great.
But there's Google Earth now.
Yeah, what's funny? Google Earth, when you look up Hazelton, it's all weird and gray looking.
Is it really?
Yeah, it doesn't. They don't.
They didn't know there was a town there. They're like, oh crap!
I realized that Google actually they focus more on urban areas. Like, you get your really nice high res images in urban areas, and you go rural, especially really rural, and it just becomes like these like pixelated, grayed out.
Well, no, but now that they're going to be able to legalize all those grow ups the government wanted to pretend they didn't know about, they can start taking pictures.
All of a sudden, Hazelton's high res again.
Eldon, was there anything that we didn't ask you that you wanted to talk about?
I have more questions.
I have questions. Yeah, like what kind of car do you drive up
Are you
there?
trying to cut us out?
Were we done?
I just asked a question. You guys can keep asking questions.
That felt like a terminating question.
It was, but if you have more questions,
I have to say, when I haven't seen Geoff for a long time, and when I saw him at the restaurant today, I gave him a big hug, and he's been kind of weird ever since.
He gets awkward about hugs.
We haven't talked about it on the air, but I'm not a hugger.
He's been kind of combative.
Now I'm just going to try and hug him.
Passive aggressive.
You try, Jer. I got an elbow.
Oh.
I think you have 2.
I have 2 elbows, but only one is for Jer.
Yeah, so I think Jeff's just trying to get me out the door for that.
I was going to kick you out, and then we were going to keep recording.
Show that guy trying to hug me at the falafel place.
Jer,
yes.
Do you have a question?
Yeah. So the Prius, I would imagine, like a lot of trucks up there. Or is it?
Yeah, I'm an anomaly.
Yeah,
my car.
Can I drive in this car?
Yeah.
Yeah, they plow the road.
They plow the roads?
I take my believe it or not, I take my Prius up for service roads.
Oh, really?
Oh, yeah. We took it. We went out the Kispiox Valley Road as far as the car could possibly go, and it was pretty fun. It was pretty sketchy.
Does all right
in a Prius.
Is it totally unique? Like, when people see the Prius, it might as well be wrapped in Eldon, like an Eldon.
It might as well, yeah. Like, you're gonna know. Well, that's the case with anyone though. Like, every
car.
There's so many pickup trucks up there.
Yeah.
But like, you just from across the bridge, you're like, oh, hey, there's David. You know them by their.
Eldon
cars.
waved for those of you who are not sitting right in front of him there.
Yeah. How do you?
It's radio.
How do you communicate that on radio?
You say, and then we
Are we
wave.
allowed to call this radio?
And then we waved.
You can call it radio. Yeah.
Okay, so the Prius stands out.
It does, yeah.
There's a lot of pickup trucks.
But it's a great car to have up there because you're doing a lot of miles to do a showing.
Yeah.
So, I talked to one realtor who's like, oh, I hate having to come to Hazelton from Smithers to show a property. It costs me like $40 in gas. I'm like, it cost me 10.
Yeah, and if you're servicing that listing for a year, I could see how that could add up. That leads me to another question that I had. Are there like real estate brokerages, or are they technically out of Smithers? Or
they're all out of Smithers. There's 2. There's the Remax office and the Calderwood office.
So your office that you're with is actually, like, if you want to go into the office, it's in Smithers?
Yeah, it's about an hour drive from where I.
So for deposits, do you have to drive in?
Yeah.
paychecks?
You can wire it.
Yeah.
Sounds like the way to go.
They're set up so that you can wire it.
Oh, that's good.
Yeah, I actually haven't had to close a deal with a buyer. It's all been sellers so far, so I haven't had to make that long icy drive in to drop off a deposit check.
I really want to know too, Jared's question about, so do they electronically transfer you your commissions, or do you have to drive in to pick them up?
I've picked mine up so far.
That's
really
a good
hoping
question
for my
was
broker though. Actually,
yeah.
Is there a better way to do this?
I would never see, if I didn't go to pick up a check, I'd never see my broker though. So I mean, it's
if they do start electronically transferring, let us know so that we can tell Remax Advantage that even the Hazeltons, even in the Hazeltons,
even where you don't worry about your kids getting hit by cars, you have to worry about them being eaten by bears. They have it.
That was randomly
way
specific.
out there, wasn't it?
That's how we up north.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
Mortgage brokers, they have those?
Not
Is there a bank
really,
in Hazelton?
People don't really use them.
They just ask their uncle or what?
Yeah, they're like, well,
there's two banks. There's a Royal Bank and there's a credit union, and
everyone's known by name.
Everyone just like, oh, better go to the credit union. Got to talk to someone about a mortgage.
It's not someone. They know exactly who they're going to talk to.
They got to talk to Kathy.
Yeah. Yeah, it's not like they're going to walk in and be like, who's here? I'm not. Everybody knows who's at the bank.
And I'm sure Kathy's at she knows everyone and their situation so well. I bet you could walk in the door.
Approved.
Yeah, you could walk in the door.
Not
and
approved.
She'd be like, oh, this guy. Oh man.
Yeah.
Yeah. Or yay, this one.
Good or bad, right?
Yeah.
Well, I was told that when we bought our place in Tulameen that I tried to use Stephanie Barrett, friend of the show, and I went to Steph and she's like, you're buying a bit of a weird property in a recreational situation in a small area. Lenders, like the big lenders, they kind of get just put off by this stuff. It just seems too difficult, too risky. They just generally say no. My advice is go to the local credit union.
Go find Kathy.
So you got to go to the source.
Yeah, and because if they don't lend on that stuff, they're not going to do enough business.
Right.
So you go to them and they always just find a way, and they did it on very conventional terms. And otherwise I would have just been flat out declined by a big bank. So it probably speaks to it, right? You stick with people who kind of know your stuff, right?
Pretty much.
Understand your inventory, because things like mobile homes and that kind of stuff, banks don't like them, but the big banks.
Yeah.
But if you're in a small town, they're like, well, if we don't lend on a mobile, we're cutting out a large segment.
We're going to have to lay some people off here.
What do you, any weird trades? Like, I want to buy your house. I've got these 2 tractors, a pickup.
And a goat.
Oh, I hope so. I haven't had that yet, but I really hope so. It would be so fun. One client of mine
trying to do a valuation on the John Deere and Betsy.
Well, one client of mine just before I got back in the business, he bought a farm. So I didn't get to be a part of that transaction, but it would have been so cool because they negotiated for all kinds of equipment that was still, and they had these old tractors that hadn't been started up in 20 years, and just all kinds of strange farm equipment. I don't, half of it I don't even know what it is, and that was all written into the deal. Like we'll pay X, but this includes this tractor and this trailer and
that sheep,
and this equipment, and I don't know if they bought any sheep.
The livestock.
I don't know what sheep go for.
Oh. Well, those are my questions for Eldon.
I have a few things I'm curious about that kind of fall under the umbrella of the standard of expectation inside the home, right? So we've established new standards even in the city about staging, and photos. Right, everything is done with professional photographers in a wider lens, and all of us, the consumer and the agents, we've trained our eye to translate what a wider lens looks like.
Yeah,
and you kind of know what to expect when you walk into the house. But when we first started taking photos out here that way, a lot of people would get upset when they'd walk in the house. We talked about this on the episode with Danielle on the magical art of real estate photography. But they walk in, they're like, oh, this is a lot smaller than I was expecting. The photos making it look like this big, wide open space.
Yeah.
But you've done a lot of your own photos because you have the equipment to do it properly, right? So is that kind of stuff, like, do you cross the line where it's too much and people don't know how to translate it and they think it's too fancy?
Some people, like I still get some of that where they come in and say, whoa, this bathroom's way smaller than I thought it was. I was like, yeah, the thing is, like, I try to explain to people, like, well, it does look, bigger in the photo.
You're like, yeah, because I lied to you.
Because I lied to you. Because I'm a sleazy realtor. But no, I just wanted to get the whole bathroom in the picture so you could see
that there is.
So you could see the whole bathroom, right? And the only way to do that is with a wide
bathrooms
with
so
a wide
hard
angle.
to shoot.
Yeah, and when you explain it, people get it. They're like, oh yeah, that's cool. They don't hold it against you, really, as far as I know.
But so the other part of that is like staging and interior design and that kind of stuff. Like at the highest level that we would do here in town, where everything is fancy and everything's sort of put in the right place and it's like magazine put together, would somebody walk into that and go like, this is just too much? Who thinks that we're buying this in the Hazeltons?
I think if you did that with, like the houses that, like the one I told you was like went for 142.5.
Yeah.
You could stage it sort of, but if you went all out, like, spend $3,000 on staging, like some people do, it'd be way overkill. If it didn't put people off, they might be okay with it, but it still wouldn't be worth your money to do it.
Yeah. You're not getting the benefit.
You're not going to impress them.
But I guess really. The other side of that is then, how low can you go? Like, because I feel like you can.
How bad can your presentation be?
Yeah, I feel like you can get away with like a lot of not cleaning up, a lot of dishes in the sink, and just like half-made rooms and that kind of stuff. And people look right past it because that's just kind of how it is around here.
To a degree, like, yeah, I have been in some houses where it's just immaculate, and people comment, "Wow, they keep their place really nice." And others where it's not so much, and people just kind of, they don't say one way or the other, which can be telling, I guess. But it depends what you're selling too, because there are some really nice and high end homes, believe it or not, in Hazelton and the surrounding areas. So if you were to take one of those homes, you're going to want to do the same thing you do here and stage it
with sort of the proper sort of cottage vibe or whatever is.
Yeah, you want to make it look like it should be in a magazine, right?
Yeah,
where you don't necessarily have to do that to a single wide trailer that was built that was built in 1965. Probably not going to be in your best interest.
Sounds like you need to build another Facebook page, Hazelton's Luxury Real Estate.
Yeah. The Hazelton's luxury specialists, Eldon Whalen. All right, Eldon. Well, that's pretty much what we were going to talk about small town real estate. I think you're going to tell us a story, though.
Yeah, I wanted to tell you about how these new rules have affected real estate in the small town.
It's story time with Jer.
Great story. Compelling and rich.
It's not always my story?
No, it's not always your story. What if Matt has an awesome story to tell?
Well, he can tell it to me or write it down, and I will paraphrase.
This is Multiple Offers, a real estate show.
Let's just give Eldon some instructions here.
I knew. I'm supposed to start talking now.
He looks like a deer in headlights. Yeah, that was our bumper.
Oh,
and
what's
then
a bumper?
After the bumper, that's the thing where we play the music and the Eldon's going to tell a story, and now you get to tell a story.
And all that anyone else hears is dun, dun, dun,
yeah,
dun, and then I start talking again.
They didn't hear us talking between the bumper about me screwing up the timing of the episode. That's
too bad. They should really know about these things.
Yeah.
No transparency.
So anyway, yeah, I mean, you guys have talked about this on the show. These new rules have come in about the ban on dual agency and stuff like that. And funnily enough, when I was in New Westminster and people were talking about these changes, I was like, yeah, bring it on. Who cares? Like, I don't double end anything anyway. I don't.
So before you left the talk, changes were in talks.
Yeah.
But they hadn't actually taken effect yet. Right?
Yeah, it was just there was a talk about, they're going to ban dual agency. And I was like, yeah, how often do you double end a property anyway, right?
Yeah.
And it didn't really, it wouldn't have affected my business model here. Go up north, and wow, does it ever affect the business model up there? Just about every deal is a double end, or was.
Yeah.
And
because it's actually more of a pain to go out and find someone else.
Yeah, basically.
Yeah.
Basically, for the consumer, they're like, well, this is much easier if we just do this, and I already know the seller anyway. Like, we're buddies, and, so
let's just get this done. Right?
Yeah, exactly.
Well, and commissions are a lot smaller, and it was a way kind of for the agent involved to sort of earn probably what they needed to make things work.
Yeah.
And the other thing is too, when there's very few agents, they're like, yeah, I know the seller, but they're like, I also know who the other agents are, and the reason why there's usually one player who gets the most phone calls is because, like I said earlier, like they're the one who works, the one that's
right.
And it's not actually avoiding any conflicts. Everyone's conflicted
because you're just naturally conflicted no matter what.
Yeah, like at some point, if I do this long term, which is the plan, I will have sold a home for just about everyone in town within a few years,
Yeah.
So
that should be your new slogan. Eldon, I already sold you a home.
Yeah, 2 years down the road, let's see. I might rebrand. But we get the situations come up a lot, right? Where so I have this house for sale, and somebody I know, wants to buy it. So great, sounds good, no problem. Oh yeah, but I have to sell my home in order to do it. So you have a conflict right there, right? And so
like that buyer isn't using you to buy, but they want you to sell their home.
They want to buy the home that I have listed,
yeah, and
they want me to sell their home so that they can buy that home.
Yeah,
and
well, now that's insider trading, Eldon.
Yeah,
you're not allowed to go try to sell his house to get him exactly what he wants, and your seller exactly what they want. That would be bad.
Yeah, so you get this situation where you're like, okay, well, I'll refer you to someone else. So we refer them to someone else, but this person only represents buyers. They won't list the property. And to be fair, like they're trying to retire. Yeah. And they've told all their clients they dropped like 16 or 18 listings, handed those off to another realtor before I got in.
Right.
So it would look really bad for this person to
come out with a new listing.
Because she's already told all of her other past clients, like, sorry, I don't do this anymore.
Well, no, she fired them. She took active listings and cut ties.
Oh, I misunderstood. She took active listings.
Yeah, and she's like, bam.
Well, I don't know if they were active when she did it or not. But,
oh, wow.
But
either way, she's turning down business.
Yeah, she told people, I'm not going to list properties anymore. Everyone understands that. Everyone knows that. And then so for her to come out with a new listing, people will be like, what the?
Yeah.
So and then so you say, okay, well, you can hire this other person. They're like, oh, I don't know, that person rubbed me the wrong way.
Yeah.
So like, okay, there's no.
He didn't
one else.
ask me to dance when I was 12.
Yeah. it could be anything, right? It could be anything.
He got the 4-way stop protocol
all
wrong.
You got to be careful of how you drive, I guess.
Oh yeah, I can't.
If everybody recognizes your car,
I can't cut people off anymore like I did in the city.
Yeah,
I can't.
Ooh.
Yeah, because people are like, I'm not selling my house with you now. But so this kind of situation comes up, and it's going to come up a lot more, where especially if the other realtor that I could refer to, what if he decides to retire? He's been doing this a long time. Then it's just me, and in this particular situation, both the seller and the buyer are essentially being screwed.
Now, the board has said that they'll make special exceptions if there aren't enough realtors in the area. Are they not making an exception because of the Smithers realtors are close enough?
Basically, yes. But the Smithers realtors don't want to do business in Hazelton because they don't know Hazelton well enough to service it properly. They're like, well, I can't. I've even tried to refer buyers to a couple agents in Smithers to say, can you
just write this up for me, man?
Can you write this up for me so that we can remove this conflict of interest, so we can sell this house? And they're like, I don't know Hazelton well enough to take that on. I don't feel comfortable taking that risk, right?
Yeah.
Which is something we've always been taught as realtors. Don't go outside of your area of expertise, right?
But when there aren't enough realtors.
But when there aren't, and so now basically the rules are saying, well, you're going to have to find someone who's willing to go outside of their area of expertise.
So if anybody's considering a career in real estate, the Hazeltons might be an excellent place to start.
I wouldn't say excellent.
Eld's like, get out of my Kool-Aid.
Get out of my Kool-Aid. No, well, sort of, but the reason for that is because there's not that many sales year over year. You know, there's on average about 26 to 28 sales per year.
Total.
I'm
dying a little bit.
Yeah, I know. So you imagine if it's say another couple of realtors move into town, or even one. Now you're not going to be able to make enough of a living unless everybody raises their commission rates colossally. You know, like to an extreme. Like all of a sudden you're like, oh, instead of 7 and 3, now we're doing 13 and 4.
Right.
You know, that would be that could be a scenario that, like, in theory, could play out.
What did you say? 27? Is that the number you said? 27,
26, 28, somewhere around there.
And how many of those are condos?
Are there condos?
I'm making a zero with my hand right
Hazelton
now.
condos.
No, the rural condo is a mobile home.
Yeah.
The rural condo. Oh, ruralcondos.com.
There you go.
That's got a nice ring.
No, you got to call them tiny. If you market them as tiny homes, they'll be way more popular.
Oh man, only
for city people.
That's you got to be careful. There's a realtor in town who I think has that copyright.
Tiny homes?
I think so. Yep.
I'm trying to think of the
parks?
shortest realtor I know so I can make a joke.
So yeah, with these conflicts, the whole purpose of bringing these rules in was to protect the consumer, right?
Yeah.
And because there were some consumers that did get screwed under the old system. And now what it's doing in small towns is it's actually creating situations where both parties are now getting screwed. So my seller cannot get an offer on this property from someone who eagerly wants to buy it, but they can't find someone to list their home so that they can buy it. So now the buyer doesn't get to buy a home and the seller doesn't get to sell it.
That's infuriating. But I gotta feel like it might take 2 or 3 years. That's going to get fixed. Because as short-sighted and terribly planned all of this was, the intention was, like you said, to help the consumer.
Yeah, it's all meant to protect the consumer.
Yeah, and when it comes out that, like, this is the reality of it, and they were warned about this. The powers that be were told this is what's going to happen. These are the flaws in the way you're designing
now we can
this.
show them that it is happening. We weren't just trying to protect our paychecks.
Yeah, it wasn't just us being greedy, right? So I hope it can turn around because small town real estate is weird, and even though there may be 5 realtors in your community one day, still probably only half of them are really putting in the work and showing the attention. Like maybe 2 out of the 5, right?
Yeah.
And people deserve the option to choose just one of those 2.
Yeah, and can you imagine if you were told, okay, you can only work with one of these 5 people. Oh, the one you picked? No, you can't. You pick again.
Yeah. No, sorry, the 2 competent ones, they're already spoken for.
Yeah.
Just keep going down the list.
Yeah.
You're like, no, but that person is incompetent.
But I want the good one.
Proven.
Yeah.
No, you don't get to.
No, you don't get the good one.
No, because that would be bad for the other person involved. Anyway, very confusing.
I mean, even if they're all good, you
should have the ability to choose.
The consumer should have the ability to choose, and if there is a conflict, this is what was great about the old system is if there was a conflict, it got brought to the forefront, or should have, if the realtor did their job, got brought to the forefront. Everyone talked about, okay, there's a conflict here. How do we deal with this? If everyone was on board with dual agency and they understood what it meant, then you could do it.
Yeah, that was the problem is how do you enforce that people are
how do you prove that people understand it, right?
Yeah.
And so that's, I guess, the challenge. There's for small towns, there's gotta be some sort of in between there where we can have these situations where if the consumer is going to end up either having to hire someone they don't want to hire or having to go unrepresented, then what are these rules really doing to protect them? So it's got to change. It's just
there'll be some change. It's still
to what degree will it change? Because these, they said there were going to be exceptions to, for small communities that were underserviced. But what all the realtors call, I brought that up when I was thinking about getting back into real estate up there, and I said, well, you can still do dual agency. He's like, no, that's we call those unicorn deals because they don't really exist.
Sounds about right.
Yeah, questions for another day.
Yep.
Yeah, but we do have a question for today, actually.
Ooh.
Oh, what?
Did you mean to do that?
No.
How's it working out for you? What?
But I got really excited about halfway through. When I was like, wait a second.
You're listening to multiple.
Whose question is it?
A real estate show.
Amy?
Yeah, here we go.
What? It's a real.
No, it's a. Okay, so we have a question of the week, which will be very interesting. I think Eldon will have a different perspective being in small towns than the rest of us. Adrian asks, how should I go about finding a home inspector?
We're asking Eldon.
Well, no, we all get to contribute.
Oh.
You've done this before, Jeremy.
Well, the Hazeltons perspective is he's your dad. Just call him.
Do you just bring your actual dad, or everybody has a dad who is their home inspector?
No, there's a shortage of home inspectors as there are a shortage of realtors. Same kind of thing. So the home inspectors come from Smithers, or they come from even further, like Terrace, and there's not a lot of choice. There's like I think 3 or 4. And if you're not happy with somebody's service, and you're like, I don't have many other to choose from.
My buddy Dayton moved up to Fernie to work in mining up there, and he
out there.
Up,
Everything is up.
It's more east than up.
Vancouver's got to be.
But the elevation in Fernie
is it
higher.
directly east?
Like they have mountains.
It's up.
You could call it up.
I refer to the States as up there sometimes.
I'm with Geoff on this one.
So Dayton gets out there, and he calls me so frustrated because he's like, there's only one home inspector here. And I called him, and he says to me, I already inspected that house. And I'm like, okay, well, did they collapse it because of the inspection? And he's like, you got to pay me. And I mean, incredibly frustrating. If there's a shortage of realtors, do people get frustrated with like how many times does a home inspector up there inspect a home if it's a bad house?
Yeah, I mean they'll do an inspection, pass the information on to their clients, and if someone else wants to do it, you could book the same guy, but he's got to do a new inspection. So, I mean, it's going to say the same thing.
Maybe they fixed something.
Yeah, maybe.
But also, what comes into play in the small town is, say it was the inspection was really terrible. They freaked the clients out. They decided, nope, we're not going to buy this house. It's in too rough a shape after seeing what the inspection report had to say. It's a really small town. They're going to talk. Everyone in town is going to know that basement is leaking, or that.
You don't have to stand around the produce section long to find that out.
Yeah, you just you can do things like if for instance, if I wanted to let people know that I'm selling real estate, I'm like, hey mom, I'm selling real estate, and wait, I don't know, half hour.
When we were talking about unique marketing opportunities that Eldon takes advantage of. All you realtors out there, write down, hey, mom.
Thanks, Ma.
Hey, Eldon, I'm going to the grocery store. You need anything? Yeah. Mention me.
What about from the New West guys' perspective?
Well, the first thing I think of is that we have an episode 13, what to expect when you're inspecting.
Yep.
And the intent was to tell people kind of how to prepare yourself mentally for the inspection and what to do.
Yes.
And in retrospect, I really want to re-record that episode.
Because we didn't actually talk about how to pick your home inspector?
No, we spent all of the time talking about picking a home inspector.
All of your time coming up with a clever name.
It was
really clever, though. Yeah. I laughed.
I'm calling it just version 2 and we try again. But we spent like half of that episode talking about how to choose a home inspector.
Right.
And it actually frustrates me because we didn't spend enough time talking about the next phase.
Yeah.
But a lot of it came back to you want somebody who's competent, and then you want somebody who's not going to be an alarmist, right? And the best way to find that out is to get feedback from a variety of people. I mean, most good business people have reviews from their clients out there. So you'll hear the client says, I'm happy with the inspector. It's good to hear from an agent or two who has experience with that inspector to say, yeah, that person's going to give you an honest interpretation, right? Instead of the guy who turns something small into this is a disaster. This is unsafe. You must replace. Don't buy this house.
That's, I think, one of the scariest things about home inspector reviews. And there are lots of great home inspectors with great reviews. Send your hate mail to feedback at real estate. What is it? Feedback at morealestateshow.com. Is that our email address?
Yeah.
Yes.
Seriously.
Yes, seriously. But also, the alarmists are going to get excellent Google reviews.
Oh, that's true.
because
He just saved my life.
They saved them, even though it might have been a $50 fix.
Yeah.
There's a couple potential you want to talk about conflicts, but with home inspectors, because we've seen the ones where there was a home, and again, generally everyone's above board and awesome, different levels of expertise there maybe, but we've seen ones where they have a good relationship with their realtor, so that home inspector is, some of them will pass everything and then may not be looking as closely.
Yeah, it goes both ways.
Because that realtor is a huge revenue source for them, so they're not going to be killing deals. And then you've got the one like Matt was suggesting, like the alarmist who he wants to get a couple repeat deals out of you, or a couple repeat inspections. So he might, there's been horror stories, and this is not the norm, but they are out there, so it is good to be aware of, but that they're going to get extra inspections.
It's like Goldilocks. Like some porridge is too cold, some porridge is too hot. You need just right home inspections.
Yeah, and you need feedback from both sides of the experience.
Yeah.
I mean, the consumers don't have enough inspections to know if their inspection experience was appropriate.
Yeah.
But then feedback from your realtor might be distorted, like Jeremy said, because they're like, I like this guy because Jeff's story in episode 13 passes every time.
Yeah.
It gives me a $50 Amazon card.
So it's a good question, and it's actually kind of difficult to answer because you do have to pay attention, and hopefully in your process you're working with an agent who you really know you can trust, and when they give you a couple different inspectors to choose from, they'll be good. And generally speaking, the last 4 years I've had nothing but good experiences with inspectors.
You know what? I really agree with that. I've seen so many professional, excellent real estate inspectors in the last couple of years, and especially not just the ones, because I've got people I like who are really good, who I recommend, but client-picked ones too as well.
Or like buyer's agents are coming by doing their inspection on your listing, and
I used to get scared. I'm like, oh no, who are you bringing? Oh, no. But they all seem to be pretty good. And I think the standard is really
they've made their licensing.
One bad one can really, like you said, you used to get scared, then you get complacent because you're like, wow, all these inspectors have been so great for so long, like 3 years running. Like I haven't had a bad one. And then you get one like I had when I was selling Whalen Street. He in his report he said they don't have a hot water tank. And I was like, I actually literally walked. He couldn't find it. I literally walked the realtor to the hot water tank and said, "There it is.
Like apples?
Ta-da! That's the hot water tank." And he said, "Oh, I've already written up my report, so
my hands are tied."
He's like, "I can't change it."
Did you try running the water? Did it all feel the same temperature, or did it get warmer?
Wait, the inspector was like, "The report has been written."
He was already he was writing up his report at the kitchen table, and I had overheard them talking, and they're saying like, "No hot water tank." I was like, "Wait, you guys confused about
what did you just say?
You guys confused about? You got a question or something I can help you out with?" And he said, "Yeah, there's no hot water tank here." And I was like, "Come here, I'll show you."
Come with me.
So I brought him into the room. I showed him the hot water tank. He's like, "Oh, okay. Well, I've already finished my report. I can't change it now."
Well,
You're not writing a parking ticket.
I know. And this guy was, these people that were super excited to buy this house backed out because of all the terrible things that he put in the report.
So it's going to take you a few years to get over this, Eldon.
Oh yeah, I never will. He probably got 5-star review because from their perspective,
right,
he saved them from buying 11 when really all it was. I mean,
and I'm assuming the buyers weren't there when you pointed out.
They were.
Oh, and their danger sense didn't go off at that point.
It was,
it doesn't feel right.
It was my most entertaining inspection experience I've ever had.
Oh wow,
I remember.
But yeah, they probably give him 5-star reviews.
Speaking of 5-star reviews,
ooh, well done, Matt.
Eldon is one of our best reviews we've ever had, maybe at least from a comedy perspective.
We have reviews already.
You left multiple offers a 5-star review on iTunes that Jer immediately was like, "This isn't a real fan. This is Eldon."
I don't remember what I said.
This was back in the early days of our show when we talked about cars too often.
Yeah.
And Eldon got upset with me about abandoning my pickup truck, and there's a whole bit in there. But but you gave your review, which it was fantastic and appreciated, and thanks for listening. But before we wrap, I'm actually really curious, as a listener who's been listening, do you have any like feedback for us? Like, this is what I really like about your show, or
are you setting him up to like give us criticism now?
Yeah.
I don't know if I can handle this.
If you have negative feedback, Eldon, you can send it my way.
Maybe less Geoff.
Yeah, Eldon.
He said he was the funny one.
That's what I've been saying.
This episode is cut.
I told you I was going to be the funny one.
Stop being funny.
No. I don't know. It's pretty good. Sometimes I have a hard time getting through it, and not because of the content, but because it's long. And so if lots is going on, I'm like, oh, okay, I'll pick that up later. I'll do 10 minutes here or 10 minutes there, but sometimes I don't want to do just 10 minutes. I want to listen to the whole thing.
When you're doing your long drives to Smithers to pick up those fat Hazeltons checks.
Yeah, but then the podcast like goes out.
You have to download it before you leave.
Download it. You can do that?
So please leave your reviews and download from iTunes.
We can keep losing my signal as soon as I leave Hazleton.
Dude, download it at home when you're connected. Don't use your Wi-Fi's or your
You've moved to
data.
the right place, Eldon.
We should make some Eldon episodes, some like little short ones for shorter.
I think we should do that.
I think you should call them that too.
Short attention span.
Yeah. Okay, well, if you're not Eldon and you haven't left us a review yet and you would like to, iTunes reviews definitely help. And it's been a little while since we've got one, so it would be really exciting if we got a new one. Hey, Matt?
That would be very exciting.
That probably means that no one's listening to your show.
Maybe not making it to this part because we're too long.
Yeah, we need to take Eldon's advice to heart.
I love the first 30 minutes of you guys.
Yeah. And then I got to leave my home. How am I supposed to listen to it while I'm in my car?
So we'll start next episode by saying, review us.
Yeah, there we go.
Download first.
Eldon, if somebody in the Hazeltons is listening to this and they want to get a hold of you, other than just finding you at the grocery store or looking for a Prius, how do they find you?
Facebook is the easiest way.
And your Facebook page is?
Hazelton's Real Estate.
Awesome.
Calderwoodrealty.com, or just call me. Can I give him my phone number on this?
You can.
Yeah,
if you would like.
250-842-8225.
Want to give it one more time?
250-842-8225.
We also have show notes. Eldon, if you download the show, it comes with show notes.
You can see what we said?
Well, no, it's not a whatchamacallit.
You guys are blowing my mind right now.
It's not a transcript.
It's not a transcription, but we will include your phone number, and then you'll get lots of scammy phone calls because it's on the internet.
Nice. I missed that.
Yeah. And if you want to send your scammy emails to the New West Guys, you can reach them at thenewwestguys.com. That's Matt and Jeremy. If you want to get a hold of me, Geoff, I'm at realestatenewwest.com. That's going to do it for today. Thank you guys very much. Eldon.
Beer. Yes, Geoff.
I really want to know about beer in Hazelton.
Oh, I know. I was really scared because when...
Because you're a bit of a beer snob. You like your craft beer.
I like good
Purveyor.
beer.
Yeah.
Does that make me a snob? I like good beer.
Well, you're not drinking like Bud.
Well, it does make you a snob if you just said you were scared.
I was a little apprehensive about being such a beer fan and moving to a place where when I moved from Hazelton in 99, you could not. I mean, that was obviously before the whole craft beer thing. But
Drinking a lot of Wildcat.
But even then, yeah, I mean, there's
Old
Budweiser,
Milwaukee.
Wildcat, Old Milwaukee.
You guys have Lucky?
I don't remember Lucky when I was a kid, but
Labatt's
Blue, stuff like that. So you got
getting a lot of Steel and Oak up there, or what?
You actually can get a okay selection of some like craft beers that you would know here, like Driftwood breweries and stuff like that.
Well, that's good.
There are a couple pretty decent breweries up,
Like
like
that have
Smithers
their
and
own?
Terrace. Yeah.
Did you bring any for us?
No.
Disappointing.
I'm not. Yeah. I don't share my beer. But Smithers, actually, if you live in Hazelton, you go to Smithers a lot because there's only, you have to do like a big grocery trip or something like that. I mean, it's the equivalent of going to North Van minus rush hour. Distance-wise.
Oh, distance-wise. I was thinking you were meaning like the allot-wise. I'm like, I don't go to North Van a lot, Eldon. What are you
Not to get
talking
your
about?
groceries?
No, I do not.
But it's kind of like what we go to Smithers to get things you can't get in a smaller town. And so
Like Wi-Fi.
Like beer. Zing.
There's no liquor store in the Hazel.
No, there is, but it's small, right? So they'd
okay.
only have so much shelf space,
Right,
and they can only bring in so much. But there's this really, really awesome liquor store in Smithers that's like on par, if not better, than a lot of the ones down here. So you can get just about anything you want. I haven't seen Steel and Oak there yet, but I should mention that to James.
Yeah. Pick it up.
But you can get like Daggerad and anything Driftwood makes, all kinds of really good stuff.
I thought it was Dagger Dad.
What?
I really thought that was the name.
Really?
For the longest time.
It's the game board nerd in Jack.
Oh, dear.
Tell me about your Dungeons and Dragons character. Oh, I called him Dagger Dad.
By day, he's a father of 2. By night, he's a level 18 rogue.
On that note.
So, yeah, beer's good.
Should we close on that? Okay.